looking at the bracket here, I'd like to point out Group B, we have Team Olive and Tomo, both 5-0.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I believe they're going to be playing round 7.
Maybe we can get that on stream, potentially, since we did see Team Olive and Tomo. I believe that's going to be the round after this. Will that be happening? If not, I know that we will be seeing Deep Blues, as they were in... What group was Deep Blues in? So Deep Blues is
B?
in the same group. Yeah, they're in Group B. They're going to be fighting... I'm not exactly sure.
Vitamin C in round 6.
Vitamin C. Okay, so Vitamin C has a mixed record, as does Deep Blues. So we'll see how this goes. Don't know much about Vitamin C, so hopefully they are able to match the caliber of Deep Blues. Deep Blues, we know, is a pretty solid team. However, they do have similar records right now, so it's interesting to see. I know that Deep Blues is a very technical team, and they do have really good teamwork. And I do think that, just based on players like Dreas and Taylor and Day having like really strong, sharp execution skills in Splatoon 1, that might give them some difficulty in Splatoon 2, just getting used to like the new controller and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of players that had a lot of precision technical skill in Splatoon 1, just kind of being a little bit of late bloomers in Splatoon 2, which doesn't say anything negative about the player. Players learn new games at different rates. It doesn't really... I don't really think there's much of a correlation, or I've never seen a correlation between how fast someone learns a game and how good they are long term. So maybe Deep Blue's just having some so, they just need some more time to get the execution done under their belts, as having Taylor, Dreas, and Day have that kind of lack of aiming skill this early in the game would hurt them a little bit to cause them to get a mixed record. But who knows? There's a lot of good teams in Group B, so maybe that's just how the matches went. But we pretty much know nothing about Vitamin C besides the fact that they have a pretty funny name. I actually like their name and their logo a lot. Pretty clever stuff. We see Magic, Lily, Ebbs, J-Train, and Quilava. So meeting the requirement of a Splatoon tournament of having one person at least with a Pokemon name. So good job, Vitamin C. And I'm pretty interested to see what they play. I don't know anything about them. I'd really much enjoy to see some new weapons that we haven't seen that much of being used by them, or some neat playstyles, which should be happening very soon, because one more player needs to get into the lobby. And
I'd like to point out that every time I'm playing some ranked solo, and there's a member of Deep Blues in the game, they end up just like carrying the entire game.
Yeah, no, Deep Blues definitely has some individually talented players. Taylor, as a Tenatech, has some of the best movement that we have in the West, or just in general. Not really, even though he is a very technical player, and his movement and aim definitely does draw from his strong technical skill. Taylor also just has this very good knack for just understanding how the enemy's screen looks and how to move in ways that confuse the enemy. There are a lot of players that have the technical capacity to go for some of the movement stuff that Taylor does, but they sometimes misuse it. I think a very abstract and important skill in a shooter, when it comes to movement, is understanding how the enemy's camera looks based on their perspective to you, and how to move it in ways that make it hard for their cursor to follow you. And in being able to do that, then you can go for the mind games of like, do I strafe left? Do I strafe right? Do I jump? Do I stand still? Like, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. Once you're able to kind of visualize the enemy screen, you can take that movement to the next level. And Taylor's a player that just has a natural knack for doing that. If you go back and watch some tournament VODs, or if you play him yourself, you'll notice that just whenever you aim at him, he just seems to, it's almost like it's like two magnets of the same charge, where Taylor just doesn't stay where your reticle is. And it's just a sign of how good his movement is.
Right. The thing with Splatoon, specifically, especially with that swimming mechanic that has been that you see in this game, is that every engagement is a lot more than just, do I walk left, walk right, jump, shoot. Mm-hmm. It's like there's so many more things
roll,
you can do. Because...
do you fly up in the air with your inkjet? There's a lot of cool movement options in Splatoon 2. Speaking of those movement options, we're about to see some of them. But we start up with this Rainmaker on Sturgeon Shipyard. Again, this is one of my favorite maps. We see a Splatling coming from Vitamin C, so that is pretty interesting, as we see Day on that Firefin Splat Charger, and we actually see the Emperor Dualies being wielded by Marsh. So Marsh is one of the flex players on Deep Blues. I know that a high-level Japanese solo player has been using the Emperors. Now, I know that he's been using Special Charge and Special Saver to just kind of spam out Zukas like there's no tomorrow. Marsh is going to be using some ink-resistant swim speed, so a slightly different build, at least, from Marsh, but it shouldn't make too much of a difference, as he is a pretty clever player.
Another weapon, I know you were just talking about weapons that we haven't really seen yet. Here we get two. We get the Imperi Dualies, we also get the Splash-O-Matic from Lily.
Yeah. Splash-O-Matic is definitely a weapon that I like. I'm not the biggest believer in it. I do think that Double Bomb has potential on it, but we see Lily here with the Inkjet firing off into the enemy court, forcing the enemy to the right side of the map. Teammates do seem to be trying to follow up on that, but unfortunately, teammates were kind of double teamed. Lily is going to drop a Toxic Mist behind her as she runs away to stop enemies from being able to chase her. Nice little application of Toxic Mist there. As the Rainmaker is taken out, Lily does get that assist there. Deep Blue's kind of moving up to the left side of the map from our position. 2 members in, members starting to jump in, so this is really Vitamin C's opportunity to move forward. I think that they might not have realized what kind of advantage they had if they moved up to the right. As the Rainmaker does solo push to the right, teammates to the left are going to be taken out as it's a 2v2 situation right now.
Another thing that we noted about Sturgeon Shipyard a lot of the time earlier is how like actually big the bases are, and
yes.
you notice that Deep Blue has actually got to push all the way up to 70 points there, but like the Rainmaker actually moved like very, very far. It was speaking of pushing, here they go again. Drives doing what they can on the solo, getting up to 50.
Speaking of the large maps, maybe we can get on the stream for just a moment to show an overhead of the entire map. Deep Blues did not much paint their base, and what that means from the perspective of meter building is that Deep Blues has a lot of surface area that if later on in the game they need maybe that Fire Fin to build a bomb rush and just hold up a push at the last second, or maybe the Tri-Slasher, they can choose to paint their base in, and they kind of have like a free special in the back pocket that Vitamin C does not have because they chose to do that at the beginning of the match. So kind of interesting aspect of this map. Compare it to something maybe like the pit in Splatoon 1, where there was these giant, kind of seemingly unusable areas to the left and right of the map, which were actually used as kind of like special meter batteries at high level play.
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, and this map kind of has that similar thing going on. So maybe Deep Blues will use it, maybe they won't. They do seem to be pretty healthily pushing up right now. They using that bomb rush to... Well, actually, teammates going down, so they might have to back up pretty soon as the Rainmaker does seem to be picked up by Vitamin C. Stingray actually going to take out Day, so maybe he got stuck in charge, not realizing he's going to be taken out by a Stingray, as Vitamin C is able to move up to the right side of the map here, as we see. While one member of Deep Blues over to the left, going to be double teamed by some slashers as the Rainmaker does get taken out.
And we do have Debbie making a really, really good push out there on the defense, trying to keep their advantage up high here. That flank actually done by, I believe, that was... I didn't actually see who it was. It was Dryas. Yeah, they got the Rainmaker down, and that was on the defense from Vitamin C. So they were able to actually take out the Rainmaker while it was on defense, which is actually that's huge. That's exactly what you're looking for after you make it 18 points, and now you're trying to stall out the game. There's a minute and a half left. They've got the cards in their hands. It's just a matter if they play it right here.
Yeah, they seem to be doing a pretty good job so far, making it so Vitamin C's efforts are being spent trying to get the Rainmaker off of their side of the map, let alone from the middle of the side of the map to Deep Blue's side of the map. So it's going to put a lot of advantage in the hands of Deep Blues as their opponents just trying to fight for not even the lead. As they do push the Rainmaker again, going up the sponge. This map definitely has a lot of alternate routes to take the Rainmaker. The left side of the map definitely being the strongest ways to push, but the easier to defend, and then the right side of the map being the longer ways to push, but the longer ways to push, but the harder to defend. As only 50 seconds left in the game, Deep Blues is holding this advantage right now. Specials going down. A lot of kills going down for Deep Blues. They are able to take the Rainmaker again. Mark's going to take this Rainmaker up to the left side. Taylor going to back
They're still going.
As this is going to be very close to a knockout.
They're doing such a good job holding this advantage from the middle, and they're not giving any breathing room to Vitamin C to try and maybe make any sort of pushback out. They said, we've got the lead, we're going to keep it. You're not getting a chance there. They actually got the reset there. It's going to force them to move back to the center of the map if they want to keep that from... actually, as long as the bubble doesn't pop, there should be no overtime, but they're going to go ahead and pop it anyways. Probably going to pull it back. Play it safe. That should be game. There's not really much Vitamin C can do about this now, unfortunately.
Yeah, some opportune Rainmaker camping right here as Deep Blue. The Stingray is going to go after the Rainmaker, but not going to be enough as Deep Blues is going to take this game. So a lot of back and forth there, actually. Although unfortunately, again, like we've been seeing the dominant teams in these sets take the fight to the enemy and make the back and forth happen in a position where if you even win the firefight in that backwards position, you still like haven't even started constructing a comeback yet. So it's pretty it's been pretty consistent how we've seen the dominant teams kind of hold their leads and such in this early Splatoon 2 meta.
Can we talk about the Stingray really quick?
Yeah, sure. What do you think about the Stingray?
The Stingray is on the surface like the worst special weapon I've seen in like any game. It's really bad. It does no damage. It's really hard to maneuver. It's just bad. But I have seen some players just destroy with that thing, and I don't know how they do it. It's ridiculous.
So I think that the Stingray's best application is going to, like, even though it seems redundant to have a Stingray on a charger or something like that, I think that the Stingray's best application is to take a backliner weapon that is most likely going to be out of harm's way in the first place. And as that backliner weapon is doing what they do, you know, maybe it's a dynamo painting, maybe it's a sniper sniping, a splatling, whatever. As soon as your teammates start to push somewhere where you can't directly fire at anymore, you use the Stingray as like an alternate fire to shoot through the walls, but you only do so when your teammates push. I think one of the big mistakes that a lot of players make with Stingray is they see a kill and they try to just like, oh well, I'm gonna just like, you know, guess the right direction and get the Stingray to get this guy through a wall, or I'm going to watch this guy and try to... Like, you don't want to go for solo kills with the Stingray. You want to go for assists with the Stingray. And even if you don't get the kill, like, being on the receiving end of a Stingray that just gets you right in the gut right as, like, someone's about to rush you, or maybe you get hurt by the Stingray and then a blaster comes around the corner and just, like, nails you. Like, that's the kind of stuff that makes a Stingray good. Does it make it as good as, you know, like an ink armor or a missile or something like that? No, I don't think so, but it does allow weapons like snipers and splatlings to continue the pressure even when they otherwise couldn't.
I actually see the Stingray a lot similar to the Killer Whale in Splatoon 1, where what it does is it forces people to move. You know, like if you see a Stingray, like obviously you're not just gonna stand there, right? So if you use it against like a backline player, like, you know, like any sort of charger, or like anyone who's trying to hold a defensive line, it actually forces them to move, which gives you a really good opportunity to push in. Speaking of pushing in, Splat Zone's Mori Towers.
Yeah, so this is definitely a map that in Splatoon 1, I mean, if you wanted to just say two things in Splatoon that were relevant on Mori Towers, it was quick respawn and stealth jump. Just using those abilities to just kind of completely get up into the enemy base. Speaking of getting up in the enemy base, Taylor using those new zip lines to go and flank the Splatling to take an early lead for Vitamin C into an advantage, as all four members of Deep Blues do have their specials. Vitamin C spawning into the map. Let's see exactly how these specials get used, as Taylor does kind of shark here on the enemy base, receives the ink armor, and then uses that ink armor to go ahead and use the Inkzuka to get a multi-kill.
Taylor doing a really good job with the assistance of his teammates there. A full wipe. Deep Blue's looking really, really good right now. They actually didn't have control of the zone for all of that, so their score could be a little bit lower than what it is right now, but they're still looking really, really good. They're in a good spot. And now we're going to see what Vitamin C's response to that push is.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a really strong push. Using the combination of Ink Armor and Inkjet is a very potent combo that we've seen in this game. And as the slash does get taken out by Dreas here with the Tri-Slasher. Interesting choice for Dreas to be using the Tri-Slasher, actually, because he was like a Splattershot pro main, gone cherry main in Splatoon 1. So him using Tri-Slasher is pretty interesting, as he does end up getting another kill in the center of the map with this Tri-Slasher. Going to just go ahead and patrol down here, has Ink Armor at the ready, and probably we'll see him use it to just kind of seal the deal during this last push.
And a big thing about Mori Towers, especially on Splat Zones, is how important it is. Now that the zones are down in the bottom middle of the map and not on the sides, it's so important to be able to control your opponent's side of the map and make it so that they can't just use their weapons and just shoot down from the safety of their towers. And Deep Blues has done such a good job. Well, I spoke too soon. They have done a really good job. It looks like Vitamin C is trying to get that last-ditch push in. There's only 4 points left on Deep Blues. They're going to take control here. There it is. No overtime.
So that was a pretty nice situation there for Vitamin C. They were able to take one of the zones, and a splashdown was attempted to be used on the other zone to fully take the zones, but unfortunately that splashdown did not land directly into the zone and did not instantly paint it, like, which was pretty clearly his intention. So that is going to be an 0-2 for Vitamin C. Deep Blue is going to take that, and that actually was a pretty nice round. We definitely saw some well-constructed strategy from both teams, some pretty interesting weapon comps. Unfortunately for Vitamin C, again, they were just unable to really put together the same kind of game-winning pushes after taking back map control that Deep Blues had. And Deep Blues, of course, being a very well-practiced team, they have this kind of coordination under their belt, so they were able to as experts, they were able to put those pushes together.